and welcome to Friday Night with Jonathan Ross. Shall we start by having a look who is in my green room this evening? Why don't we? My first guest is an actor and Hollywood's favourite hobbit. It's Elijah Wood, ladies and gentlemen. What a good-looking young man. Thank you. There's Elijah. Thank you for coming on the show, Elijah. It's nice to have you here. Of course, you know that he was a little hobbit. In his new film, he is a tiny penguin. He keeps getting smaller. He'll be a shoo-in for the lead in the Tom Cruise story. I'm telling you, it's yours. My next guest is an Irish actor and comedian. He is Dylan Moran, ladies and gentlemen. Hello, Dylan. He has smouldering good looks. I think you do. You're like a fire.
It's smouldering.
Now, I'm glad Dylan's here because it gives me a chance to apologise to the people of Ireland, because in the past I have been criticised for trivialising Irish culture. Dara O'Brien was on the show and he had a bit of a go at me, so I've mended my ways and I've done a bit of research and now I know it isn't just Riverdance, right? They also have Eurovision and the Nolans, so...
And Johnny Logan.
And Johnny Logan, yeah. My next guest is a cook, and what a cook. You can keep your Jamies, you can keep your Gordons. There's only one person I want kneading my dumplings, and that is Nigella Lawson. Hello, Nigella.
Hello.
Oh, you look lovely.
Thank you very much.
Nigella reminds me of a big trifle, if you don't mind me saying so. Creamy, fruity, smelling slightly of sherry, and crying out for a sponge finger. I'm telling you. Making a trifle with words. And we also have great music from the Fratellis. There they are. Now you see, what's that? What is that, number B? Hello, Fratellis. Nice to have you here. That's the Fratellis. Despite their name, the Fratellis are actually from Glasgow. In fact, they are the biggest thing to come out of Scotland since the McDonald family's X Factor phone bill. And before we get on with the show, you know, I'm here despite the fact that I've had a terrible week. In hell, the Pantos are going to be having a hard time this year if you don't wake up. I'm here despite the fact that I've had a terrible week. Well, now you're overdoing it. Somewhere in the middle. Anyway, I tell you what, I had to have some root canal work done. You know, and that's where they go right in. This tooth of mine, it just kept coming off. This tooth, this clunky bit at the top of the tooth. And I put it back on, it came off again. I was eating a spongy sandwich, boom, it came off. I thought, it's no good, I've got to go and see him. And I've got a top dentist, OK? Really posh dentist, even has a TV in there up on the ceiling. Right? I don't know what he does when I'm not around, but anyway, he's got a TV up on the ceiling. You're lying back, he's got all the gear on, he put the TV on, gave me some special glass switch, headphones on. You know what he had on while I'm strapped in the chair, drugged up? The Jeremy Kyle show. Right? So I thought, well, at least now I know who watches ITV. It's people who are strapped down and anaesthetised. Well, have you seen it in the mornings? I mean, you need something to just take the pain away. Speaking of teeth, which is why I introduced the thing, because we had something sent in the office this week and I wanted to share it with you. What do you look for in a toothpaste? I suspect it's something like a sensitive cleaning action with a hint of minty freshness that says, kiss me now. You're probably not looking for a strong taste of curry, which is what you get with this new range of toothpaste that have just been released in Japan, of course, where else, OK? And they've sent them over just to have a look at. And it's a palette, different flavours depending on your mood that you can try, different toothpaste, and they've got cinnamon, that sounds OK, doesn't it? Darjeeling tea flavour, green tea flavour, tropical pineapple flavour, and in the middle, Indo curry flavour. Indian curry flavour toothpaste. That's not right, is it? That's like Marmite deodorant or something like that. Shall we get my first guest out? Yeah. And I'm going to kiss him on the side of the cheek and see if he enjoys the flavour. Who's that? Is that him? Are you smoking?
Yeah, sorry.
Jesus Christ. Never mind laughing, young man. Will you please welcome the talented Mr. Elijah Wood? Elijah Wood, ladies and gentlemen, is... I've met him a couple of times in the past. First time you've been on the show here. You are, for the time being, certainly, and I think for most of your career, it's going to be hard for people to think of you without thinking of Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Huge movies. I believe that trilogy of films is the highest-grossing trilogy of films in the history of cinema.
I think of, yeah.
Which is quite something when you think about the Star Wars movies and you know, various other films, which are, you know, the Godfather films. Incredible achievement. Were you a fan beforehand? Was it something you wanted to do? Did it just come your way because you were a young actor around? Had you read the book?
I hadn't read the book. I'd read The Hobbit when I was young and loved The Hobbit, but I never got around to The Lord of the Rings. Like, I had the books, on the shelf, and it was always that thing that I'd pass it and go, God, I really must read that one
It looked
day.
kind of daunting, didn't it? It was yeah.
The 3 books sitting next to each other.
I like that with Jade Goody's autobiography, which I have. Doesn't seem to be enough hours in the day.
Yeah, so it was one of those things that I never got around to reading, but then heard that Peter Jackson was going to make the films. Like 2 years in advance of them actually casting it, I heard about it. And then they went about casting the movie, and I read the script. I went to basically a casting office. They didn't release the script to anybody. Went to this office, sat like in a room. It was basically under lock and key.
Was this in a room with other would-be hobbits, or was it just,
It was
just you?
by myself.
Okay.
And I sat there and I read it, and I was absolutely blown away. And I remember driving home away from the casting office thinking that like orcs and goblins were chasing me, because I was so invested in the world, like I'd so gone to that place.
Had you smoked anything? Had they piped anything into the room?
No. But ultimately, it came time to audition for it, and I didn't want to go about the normal process of auditioning, because typically you go into a room, it's like a white room with a camera, with a casting agent.
And someone's sitting there with the other half of the script.
And it's sort of kind of sterile. And I thought, God, I really want this. This is something I'm extremely passionate about. So I went about doing my own videotape, and I got a costume, like a Hobbit costume.
Who made that for you, Mum?
No. I bought a book of Hobbit lore that had various artistic renderings of hobbits. And I kind of got an idea of what the costume would be like.
And so what was it? Just
So it was
basic...
it was like knee pants, you know, and like suspenders, and like a flowery shirt, kind of.
Like a 70s schoolboy.
Right, exactly. And then I went into the woods and shot the audition tape in the woods, like bare feet, the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then cut that together and sent that into Peter.
And did you always have your eye on the main Hobbit part, or would you have been happy with any of them?
Frodo, that's what I was going for.
Yeah, you wanted to be Frodo.
Yeah.
Obviously, feeling that you got the part. But he just did the most tremendous job, didn't he? It really was. It was central to the whole film, the whole series of films. You needed to believe in you and the other guys, and I think you all really did a great job, of course, which is why it was the hit it was. But a huge chunk of your life to go and make that.
It was 4 years.
4 years of your life.
4 years, yeah.
Now, you guys, you had a kind of a thing where you wanted to remember the experience. You all got a similar tattoo, am I right?
We did, yeah.
Okay, what was the tattoo, and where on your body did you have it?
The tattoo was the Elvish number 9, so standing for the 9 members of the Fellowship.
Yes.
I mean, it was a pretty significant experience, and it was an idea that we had early on, but we kind of waited until the end to make sure that the experience was actually good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I got mine just below the waist.
Could we see it? Is it somewhere? Is it too near the pubis area, or is it okay to be exposed?
Do you want to? I could show it.
It's not. You don't have one of a snake down there as well, do you?
It's funny. I often forget that it's there. And look, holiday boxer shorts, everyone. So.
What's that? There you go. Look at that. Well, that's quite something. And it must have been quite uncomfortable to have it done there, I would have thought.
It was very uncomfortable.
Right. Well, thank you for showing that. You've been working in the movie industry since you were a kid, haven't you? When was your first movie?
I was 8 years old. The first movie was actually Back to the Future 2.
What, you're in Back to the Future 2?
Yeah.
Okay, now, I've seen all the Back to the Future movies. I liked them all very much when they first came out.
Yeah,
I didn't remember you in them.
In the Cafe 80s, when they go to the future, the 2 kids at the back of the Cafe 80s trying to work the video game, I was one of those kids.
One of those kids. And was that a fun part for you?
Oh, my God. It was amazing. Because I grew up with the first movie.
Yeah.
And so to be on that set, sort of in that town in the future, was just, it was mind-blowing.
And you were wearing some sort of a geeky cap, weren't you? I seem to remember.
Yes, there was a, it was like a colander.
You know what's lovely is when Elijah turned up to the studio today, he was wearing that hat. So obviously... but you made quite a... I mean, you had a pretty solid career, didn't you, as a child actor? I mean, you made a lot of films. So why is it that you, I mean, you're working in Hollywood, you're a child, how is it that you stayed on the straight and narrow when so many other child stars seem to get either, you know, like lured into a drink or to drugs or just become... I believe the American word is arseholes, but they pronounce it slightly differently.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It seems to affect people adversely.
It does. I mean, I really credit my mother. You know, I was raised by an amazing mother that definitely tried to create a separation between what I did as an actor and what my home life was. So I always had a really strong home, solid base. I was never allowed to define myself by being an actor. And she was good at, like, kicking me down when I was getting too sort of big-headed.
Was it strange for you having on the set? I mean, when you started making slightly more adult movies, did she come down there? Because there wasn't really a period when you weren't working, was there?
No,
I mean, it seemed to be that you just flowed through.
I've been very lucky.
Yeah, so was it tricky when you started getting the slightly more mature roles?
Well, I remember on the Ice Storm, I had to make out with Christina Ricci. And my mom was there. Now, at this stage, I was 15, nearly 16. So you're heading into your kind of more mature, you're growing up, you're becoming an adult.
You're growing hair.
Exactly. A couple years prior to that. So anyway, I had to make out with her. My mom was on set.
Yeah. Oh.
And this wasn't just a make out, like it was proper open mouth, tongue, roll around. And that was the first time that I was kind of embarrassed about
hideous.
my mom being around, just because I didn't want her to see that kind of thing.
You didn't want to see your
And then I
moves.
had to dry hump her later in another scene. And that was a bit uncomfortable as well.
Yeah, I imagine so. And did Mum chat to you on the way home and say, good work today, son?
It was very awkward for her. It was very awkward. There were a few words, not many.
Elijah is in a movie which I saw the other night. It's a family movie. Would that be a fair thing to say?
It is a family movie, yeah.
Yeah. It's called Happy Feet, and I went to see it on my own. There was a screening, I couldn't take the family along, and this was the day I'd had root canal work. I don't know if you heard about that.
I did hear about that.
Okay, well, it was a terrible experience.
I'm sorry.
So I wasn't in the best of mood, Elijah, I'll be honest with you. And I didn't really want to go and see a movie about singing and dancing bloody penguins on my own late at night. It's raining outside and I've got a sore mouth.
Yeah.
And my tongue was like that.
You've painted a good picture of the
It
scenario.
cheered me right up.
Oh, good.
I really enjoyed it. It's
Good.
a lovely, it's a kind of a weird idea for a film, but it kind of works, doesn't it?
It is. It's kind of so many elements, and it almost shouldn't work. You know, there's like Moulin Rouge elements. There's dancing and singing. There's a whole environmental sort of thread
Yes,
throughout the
yes.
movie. Themes of individuality.
Some angry walruses, or one angry walrus.
Yes.
You
I mean,
just
there's sort of a lot of different
Yeah.
things, but it works very well.
It's got the vocal talents, as they say, of Elijah, and it also has, is it Nicole Kidman?
Nicole Kidman, Hugh Jackman, Robin Williams, who I got to work with, who was amazing.
He
Murphy.
voiced one of the little penguins, I guess.
He did.
Or did he do all of them?
He did two. He did one of the little ones, and he did Lovelace, who is the kind of guru that we consult with.
Okay, Happy Feet is out on the 8th of December. It's
Yes.
next weekend. And I'm definitely going to go back and see it with my kids, because I loved it, you know, and I don't just say that because you're here, because
Oh, thank you.
if we have people on the show whose films I don't like, I don't express an opinion.
Good.
I just go, the movie's out on Thursday. And then I do the film show next week and I go, yeah, it's not so good. But when I actually like it, well, I have to be honest, but I actually really love the movie.
Oh, that's excellent.
Look, can we put a picture of the penguin up on the screen? Do we have a picture we can put up? Okay. Now, look at the penguin. Now, can we put Elijah's face up now? Let's have a look at the close-up. No, look. Look at that.
What do you think?
It's just you with a bit of black makeup on. It's a charming film. It's very funny, and also it's very different, which is what I like about it. It doesn't feel like
Yeah.
your standard, kids movie these days. It kind of works over and above that.
Yeah, and there's actual reality in it. You know, there's some darkness in the film.
No, there's no actual reality in it, Elijah. It's about singing, dancing penguins. I don't know if they told you that. That's how they got you to do the film. It's about as far removed from reality as you could possibly get. However, it is
All
a
right,
lovely film.
maybe the singing and dancing part.
Well, where's the reality then? What, in the talking walrus? Where's the reality? There is now, well, of course, when you had Lord of the Rings out, they made some figures of you. There was
They did.
A little. Here you go. This is his head's on backwards. There's no his trousers on. There you go. There's Frodo.
I secretly love these toys, by the way.
This one does that.
Oh, see,
And
look,
it's-
Sting lights up.
and it
It's
lights up a little
awesome.
bit.
There's
Yes.
orcs around.
It doesn't look that much like you, to be honest with you. You are, I think, prettier in the flesh. But now there's this figure of you, which also is of you, because, but, you see which one people like the most. Do you like that, or do you like that? Yeah, I think we know which one's going to survive. Okay. And look what this one does. That one has a little sword that goes like that, like he's got a wooden arm. That's rubbish. But this one... It's cute at first, and then after about 30 seconds, you're thinking, I want to turn it off. But look, it's sweet. Look, he doesn't...
Oh.
He came out to see me.
Oh.
I think he likes me. You could go now if you want, because this is magic. No, hey, here you go, look at this little fat fella like that.
Oh.
Isn't that nice?
So adorable.
Okay, that's what I'm going to keep.
I gotta get one of those.
No, you can't have one of those,
Okay.
apparently. Apparently they only made one and they gave it to me. To say nice things about little film. I'm joking, of course. It's great fun. It's a lovely family film, and it's one that parents will like as well, which is a
Yes,
rare thing
indeed.
these days. Elijah, how lovely to have you on the show.
It's been such a pleasure. I'm a huge fan.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Elijah Wood. Thank you, Elijah.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Great.
So excellent.
I'm keeping it. Thank you, Elijah. Okay. In this film, ladies and gentlemen, I'm delighted to say it's Dylan Moran. Dylan, it's great to have you here.
Thank you very much. Hello.
Hey, I think I mangled your name a bit. I was trying to say it, I assumed it was the correct way of saying it, and I know it's not Dylan Moran.
Yeah.
I sort of said Dylan Moran, but I don't know if I got it right. How is the correct pronunciation, the way to say your name?
It's pronounced Fitzsimons.
Dylan Fitzsimons.
Yeah.
That's where I've been going wrong. You live over here now, or you still live in Ireland?
No, I live in Scotland.
Okay, in Scotland?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, well, that was a strange answer to an unusual settling question there. Why Scotland? Why did you settle there?
Because Elaine, my wife's from there.
Okay, well, that would make perfect sense
Yeah.
then. Did you like living in Ireland?
Yeah, Ireland's great, you know, but there's a few things you can't do there, or that you couldn't do there anyway when I was there, like get a job. It's different now because it's like, you know, it's like the rest of Europe. It's like they've
You
got
can't
money.
move for the English there now, of course.
No, you're all over there, you know, looking for work.
Do you think if the English did all start moving to Ireland, okay, and as
Yeah.
we know, the Polish are all moving here to England, and then if the Irish all move to Scotland,
Yeah.
and the Scottish people all move to Poland,
Get something going.
how confusing that would be for us.
It's not though. People always move around.
Yeah.
You know. I mean, you're in West London now. You came all the way from Billericay or wherever you grew up.
Billericay?
I don't know. It's some eel stole.
You have me branded as a common whelp from the East End of London?
Cockle hawker.
Is that a euphemism for something?
I just made it up. I don't know.
I've never hockled a cockle
You
in my life.
clearly come from a long line of whelk flingers.
Yes, we did fling a whelk or two when I was a child. Do you like seafood?
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Have you ever had eel and mash from a proper pie and eel shop?
I have, but without the eel.
Well, that's it's hardly worth mentioning.
But as recipes go, you know, ting and mash, fine. What is the thing? It's an eel. I'm walking, thank you.
We've mentioned potatoes there indirectly.
You brought it up, Jonathan.
And it's one of the things that people, when they think of Irish people, they often feel, can I mention potatoes? Or will that open up
Is that
old
a bad
wounds?
thing?
Yeah, would it be
Is
like...
there going to be a long, long silence and
Yeah.
heavy drinking?
Yeah, are we safe to talk about
And
potatoes?
then a quick, short fight. We can talk about the potato if you want it.
Do you? I don't really want to, but I wonder whether you find that you still get characterised or indeed defined by, let's face it, outmoded cliches as to what an Irish man or indeed Irish
Defined by
woman
my
is.
preference in tubers.
Yes. Root vegetables.
Yeah. Is this a problem? Is that what you're asking?
I'm wondering whether you've encountered this. Do people expect to see you walking in with a small green hat on? That's what I want to know.
Tickling a pig.
That would be great, wouldn't it? Just for the hell of it, would you consider doing that?
No.
There isn't really an English equivalent unless I can...
Oh, yes, there is.
What would it be?
You think English people have a lot of stereotypes.
Well, what would you be?
Oh, you know, cock. And
But that's a modern one.
inbred toffs and people who are
John Bull with a bulldog under his arm.
very red in the face, composed almost solely of gout.
I will come out wearing, if you wish, I will go out for the evening wearing a Union Jack waistcoat with a bulldog under my arm and a top hat if you come out wearing a small green hat with a feather and a pig under your arm. Do we have anything approaching a deal?
If we can have a fight, yeah.
Okay, now, I really wasn't aware of you as a stand-up comedian. I only came to you as a comic actor. I didn't
I
realise
understand
did
you're in
that as well.
television.
Yes.
What?
I loved Black Books, though. It was, you know, it just seemed to come out of left field, and it was a very original, very funny piece of work. I miss it terribly. I wish you'd make more. I understand that you have no intention of doing so. But the character of Bernard Black, who you played in it, clearly partially based on yourself.
Well, a bit insofar as it's what I could do, but a lot of it was really just walking into these places and, you know, and seeing the miserable behind the desk in there, you know. These guys always seem to be unable to deal with life on the street because they didn't want to be involved in any kind of real business. They wanted to cling to what they were interested in, but they had to deal with people at the same time.
Yeah.
So you'd see them and they were perfectly happy in their misery. And then people would come up and talk to them and say, do you have? And they'd immediately go, I might. You can't have it. Go away. And there was loads of them. They're all like that.
OK, we have a clip of Black Books, but you're not going to make any more? You really
No,
not
we'll
gonna
do
go
something
into-
else.
Why not?
Do something else. You want to do something else? You must want to do something else after what? You've been doing this for at least a month now. You must want to do something else.
I've been doing this for 20 years, Dylan.
I don't want to hear that
Why not?
because that makes it you harder to look at. How can you bear it? 20 years?
It's either this or flinging whelks.
Okay, I understand.
I wasn't going to go to the family business. Great series.
It was great fun to do.
Now, Dylan, you wouldn't think it necessarily, because how old are you, Dylan? Do you want me asking?
I'm 35.
35. You wouldn't think he's 35. He's somewhat dishevelled. Let's face it, a bit frayed and rough around the edges. But I have it on very good authority. He's very attractive to the women.
Not in my area. I don't know.
My daughter and her friends went to see you live, and they came out and said he is, and this is the actual phrase they used, bare nang.
What's that?
Are you not up to date with the kids'
No,
speak?
I don't. I wish I did. Some of it sounds great.
Do you engage with the modern world much?
No, I'm very interested in the idea of trying to be up to speed with.
Do you have a mobile
Even
phone?
using the phrase "up to speed," I think is kind of impressive.
Do you text people?
Oh, I can text, yeah.
Do
But
you use a satellite navigation system?
I can't drive, so I don't. I don't have that much.
Well, what about
I've never been that drunk where I actually needed one.
Are you walking home? Please
Yeah.
turn left ahead.
Yeah.
If possible, make a U-turn.
Third stair, lift me.
Do you have a MySpace account yet?
See, again, these phrases. My space. I'm in your space. What's your space?
It's a little computer world where I can live with friends who I don't actually know.
Is MySpace related? If you're in a MySpace, do you get a YouTube?
I think you can go to YouTube from MySpace, but you don't necessarily have to pass through MySpace to arrive at YouTube.
Okay.
Check your satellite navigation.
All right. I don't know these words.
So you don't engage in the modern world, in computers? Do you use the internet?
I'm in the modern world.
Yeah, but
I'm
you seem
here
like
now.
It's like
With everybody else. It's just you're filling your life with all these gadgets and because you're bored.
Yeah, maybe, but they're fun.
You want to make getting to the loo more interesting, so you get a G-nav or whatever you're calling it, and get there on some kind of glider.
Dylan.
Yeah.
Despite what you've read, my house isn't quite that big. But I do have an electric toilet that cleans your bottom for you.
They've fantastic toilets in Japan that play music.
Oh.
While you no, they do it.
But I'm really upset now because mine doesn't play music.
They do the pretend. Because we were in Tokyo not that long ago, and there's one where you go in and they have a flushing noise when you're on the loo, so that nobody gets to hear.
Oh, that's right. Music comes in, so they can't hear you making tinkle or plop plop.
Your own internal tuba, yeah.
You know what would be great is why don't we have a karaoke toilet so you're sitting in the stall and you can sing along to entertain the other people in there. Pass the time. Do you have any hobbies? How do you feel your days?
I don't know. That's kind of a frightening question or idea. I don't know. I mean, hobbies are a bit sinister, I think. Because what are you going to do? You're going to get a tractor tire and cover it in shells, or get a lump of wood and chisel it for no reason for 9 hours because you're not happy with your life. That's what a hobby is. If you look at what people make from a hobby, you don't want any of it, do you?
Well, I got a little man made out of shells and it says on the bottom, world's best dad.
That's different. Was it made by your own children?
No.
Okay. But they paid out the money you gave them to somebody else to buy it for you.
No, I bought it for myself.
You bought it for yourself.
I thought it would show me the good
counts.
So you don't. So what do you do with? I mean, no disrespect, but you obviously work on your comedy and you write. But how do you fill your day then?
That is a very personal question.
Well, this is a chat show. You're meant to open up.
No, but I mean, it's an amazingly. How do you fill your day? How does anybody fill their day? I think the truth is, you fill your day most of the time by being in the washing machine of your own mind, thinking, "What's this? When does it stop? Am I enjoying it? I don't know. Oh, it's time to go to sleep. I can't. I'm worried." And then.
Well, that sums it up very neatly.
And then you wake up and you smear jam over your family's face on your own.
So now we know how you fill your time.
Yes.
Was that so difficult to open up?
No, but obviously at times it's an enormous pleasure to be alive.
Can I ask you something, Dylan?
Yes.
Do you have a stylist?
I have many. Do you think this is the work of one person? I have people who 3 generations of the same family who come to work for me. These craftsmen.
Do you cook? Have you ever cooked? We have Nigella Lawson on the show. She is a fine cook. She's a beautiful woman, of course, and she's also a beautiful cook.
I can make a bacon sandwich like you.
It's not a hard thing to make, though, a bacon sandwich.
Well, that depends. That depends on your attitude to a bacon sandwich, like your attitude to everything.
How do you make it so special, then?
You don't necessarily have to use any bacon or bread.
Is it as satisfying as one would hope?
Well, it's sometimes it's bacon surprise because it's vegetable soup.
Are you a vegetarian?
I was vegetarian for about a month when I was 15, and but the only thing I could actually eat, because I don't like vegetables, I actually find them morally objectionable, a lot of them, and I think some of them have a sinister aspect. If you look at cauliflower in the right light, you can imagine it at a blackjack table, smoking. And I don't like, the only thing I could eat was baked beans. And I was 15, and you know, hormonally you're very busy then, and it was like eating my own reflection. So I get it.
That can't be good for you. Can't
No.
be nice. Dylan has a DVD of live stand-up material, and as you no doubt will have seen this evening, you know, just about anything I've thrown at Dylan, he's come back with something funny. He is, where's the thing, I think, a naturally funny person. Dylan's live DVD is called Like Totally Dylan Moran. Dylan, and now so presumably, you're not touring at the moment? Are you gigging
No,
at the
I'm
moment?
done.
I hear you're writing a novel, is this correct?
Oh yeah, but I've been doing that since, you know, ever since I started being allowed into cafes by myself. And everybody is, anyway. You know, I mean, every second person you meet is saying, yeah, I'm working on this thing, I can't really talk about it now because if I do, it's just so good, it would make your eyes explode, or you wouldn't be able to deal with it.
But could you give us a hint what your novel is?
No, I can't, it's just too good. And I can't. You know, it's embarrassing to talk about anything you haven't actually achieved.
Well, how much have you written so far?
I have written a number of words.
And longhand or on a computer, recording device? of some sort?
Longhand.
What, in old-fashioned
not
pen on ink?
Not on one of those computation devices that you people speak of.
Do you have a laptop or something like that?
I have a laptop, it's flat, it's white, it's shiny, it looks very impressive, and I touch it often.
Do you write on it?
No. But I do touch the lid. I'm still settling into this century.
Do you have an iPod?
Nope.
Do you have a Walkman?
I'm waiting till they get all this kit in one 6x3-inch lump of metal, and you just stick it up your and it does everything.
I think
You
I'll
hear
wait
music all the time, everything's in vivid colour, your tastes and all your hearing is enhanced, and you never have to do anything ever again. You can stay in bed and just live in this vortex of sensation.
Dylan, I'm not going to hold it to you, but you sure 6x3 will be small enough?
I'm not that good at spatial relations. 6x3 could be that. I didn't work it out.
Okay. Dylan Moran, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you agree, he's a charming guest. He's also a very funny man indeed. It's Mr. Dylan Moran. Thank you so much. It was a pleasure. It was great. I'll see you all. I might see you after. Let's get my last guest out. She has been simmering in the green room for almost an hour, and I think she's ready to be served. Would you please welcome the lovely Nigella Lawson? Doesn't Nigella look great? Wow. And look at this.
I'll make you a present.
Wow.
Okay, so every year I make Christmas tree decorations.
Okay.
So instead of giving you angels and everything, here I've given your name in lights.
So, but these are made, this is gingerbread, and you've made a hole in it so you can hang it from the tree.
Yes.
Wow.
You'll have to thread the ribbon through.
Did you really make them?
I really made them.
Okay, so you must just spend like all day making stuff, do you? Is that what you do
I
with all your
wish
stuff?
that were the case, but no, but a lot of the time.
But something like this would take me about 10 days to make.
It wouldn't.
This would take me forever to make. I mean, presumably you know what you're doing, but just to get all the bits and pieces assembled.
No,
and,
but that's okay, because you buy them, and you shake them over.
all the little
that's it.
balls and stuff.
Yeah,
Hey,
I
I
like
don't
that.
like those balls. Could you make me a different O without the button, a different S? Because I don't mean to be picky, and a T, and that one's got some on. Because those ones, have you ever bitten one of those, Nigella?
But you can just hang them from your tree.
No, never
Give
mind
them
that.
to someone you don't
Listen,
like.
I want the whole...
Okay,
no,
well,
let go. I want the whole
spell your
name, and I want you to go back and redo those and come back when you're finished.
Okay.
No, sit down. But I don't like the silver balls because they hurt your teeth.
They do, and you've suffered enough.
Yes, I have. So you must be, I'm imagining... Hold it, I can't spell my own name. Hold on.
It's difficult upside down. Okay.
Thank you. Okay, there, let's get it right. That's very impressive. I'm very excited about that. You must be, presumably, you're gearing up for Christmas now. You're getting ready for...
I've been geared up for so long, I think it's next Christmas.
Really? You have to... Oh, I suppose you... Because you've made a show for the BBC, and I guess you've been doing it since when?
Well, my Christmas normally kicks off in August. This year it kicked off in July.
So you were cooking Christmas dinner in July?
Yep.
That must just seem wrong, though, doesn't it?
Well, actually, you know, I had a great-grandmother who really loved Christmas lunch. So she always had it twice a year, once on Christmas Day, once on Midsummer's Day.
Oh, that's a nice
So I'm
idea.
used to it. You know, it's like a family failing.
And this is the traditional Christmas dinner that we would all recognise today, then?
Completely. Do you know, there's nothing I hate more than when people think they're too chic for a proper Christmas.
Do people, posh
You know,
people?
when they say, well, do you have a turkey? And we have a goose. And I think, poor you.
If
Could have
someone
a
served me a
turkey.
goose, I would punch them quite hard in the face. Then I would on their couch.
Yes.
Then I would smash a window.
And where are you going for Christmas this year?
Hopefully your place.
No
Get the goose ready. Hey, but no, I would... What's the point of that? Why would you not have that?
You've got to have turkey.
That's just making the wrong kind of point, isn't it? Saying goose and...
I think it's completely wrong.
So how long do you spend getting Christmas ready, do you think, Nigella? How long would... Because I imagine you lay on a better spread than most people, I would have
No,
thought.
I don't think so.
bet you do.
Actually, you know, one of the things that always panics me is that when people come to my house, they think they're going to get something really great to eat. But, you know, I'm not a chef, you know, I just cook. So
Oh, but
it's
come
a
on,
family joke that every time... So anyone in my family, when they're speaking to me, then they say, you know, what are you cooking tonight? And I always say roast chicken. So everyone says, we're going round there, we're going to get that and like that. And I come up,
With the roast chicken.
smiling,
Yeah.
roast chicken. And they think...
But I bet you roast the chicken in sort of like rare Bavarian goat's cheese or something. I bet you do something
I
special with
don't
your chicken.
know. What
Is it
do
just
you
a
don't
tradition?
need to do anything special. I like plain food.
Yeah, you can't beat it. Do you allow vegetarians in the house?
I do, although I have to say my grandmother felt that vegetarians shouldn't really accept invitations to dinner. Vegetarians are all people on diets, she felt.
She's kind of got a point. How
But
do
no,
you do
I
that?
don't mind. I'm fine about vegetarians because actually I think at Christmas, I think at Christmas you don't need to do something special because in many ways, you know, the vegetables are great. So roast potatoes are fabulous, sprouts and chestnuts great,
Can't beat it.
parsnips great,
Oh,
red sauce,
keep going.
cranberry sauce.
I'm
Well, that's all
almost
good. The only difficulty is this year, because when I was filming the series, we did have a vegetarian among us. We don't normally.
I like that. You sound like you're talking about some sort of like a leper. We had a vegetarian.
we had a vegetarian.
We
And
thought best not to mention
so
it.
what happens? So we film Christmas dinner.
Yeah.
Had my family around, we're filming it. And then the next day, because you know that the magic of television, you're doing all the close-ups. So the next day, the crew, we all sit round, we have Christmas dinner, and there was a vegetarian. And the director thought, oh, well, you know, I suppose you can have, all we've got to give him, the roast potatoes and the sprouts. And then he realised I'd done my sprouts with bacon, and I'd cooked the roast potatoes in goose fat, so he had to go to the Thai takeaway.
Oh. But you know what? That serves him right. Now, do you think, does food replace other things in people's life, do you think?
I think it can do. But I mean, obviously we all know sort of examples of people who eat. We know, you know, Friar Tuck presumably ate through his frustration at being celibate. And
Is that what you think was? So he wasn't
Yeah.
getting any, so he just ate?
Yes.
Ate and ate and ate.
I've always presumed people who don't ever eat are so engrossed about their body shape that
They're
they're
not
also on that end. So I also think the problem there.
But you, for example, do you have the balance right? Do you eat enough to keep yourself happy in that way? Nigella has a new... Hey, is this your first show on the BBC now? Are you coming over to work at the BBC? No.
I'm not really an institution type of a person, but I was very pleased to do the series, especially since it was a very short series. You know, I like doing it, but, well, like you, I've got children, and it's one of those things that you just can't do. I mean, it's a very boring thing to say, but you can't do TV and have a normal life.
Well, I find it's good to do TV and not see the children.
Yes,
I
I
find that
know.
works quite well.
I know, but you know, I like to take them to school, I like to pick them
No,
up,
it's a
so
lovely
I
thing, I
can't do
understand.
that. So I don't do much TV, but I enjoy doing this.
Of course you're going to watch it. That's Nigella's Christmas Kitchen. Now, that's mainly filmed over here, but you travelled for that series, didn't you? Where did you go to?
I went to Salzburg for one of the Christmas markets.
How nice. Now, Salzburg is in Austria, is that correct?
It is in Austria. The food was so delicious.
And what do you get in Austria that you can't get here?
Well, actually, I had something which... I get this awful thing, which is like the Vindaloo and the lager thing when I go out in a restaurant. So I went to a restaurant with my crew, and when the waiter comes round and he says, well, we've got something that's very traditional, Salzburg speciality, and it's like a really delicious ragout of heart and lung. And they all go, oh, my God. So, of course, I say, bring me the heart and lung.
Oh, heart and lung
Imagine,
of which
like
animal,
a
though?
canister.
Do we know where it's come from?
A veal. They're full on there, so it's a veal.
So it's a baby animal and they've ripped out its heart and lung while its mother probably watched. So you could eat it.
But that was all right because it came with a really delicious bread dumpling the size of a tennis ball. And it was so delicious because I was a bit worried, because even I was worried because I thought it would look like those things in the transplant things. But it was very, very, very finely chopped with a very nice sauce. And I converted everyone to the heart and lung. Actually, you were saying about vegetarians.
Yes.
Which actually I have converted a vegetarian on my series.
But is that a good thing or a bad thing, do you think?
Well, I felt a little teeny glimmering of pride.
Okay. Listen, have you ever put anything in your mouth and thought, I wish I hadn't?
Never.
Never? What a lovely Christmas it must be round at Nigella's birthday. You're obviously someone who enjoys life, and I mean that in the nicest way, because you know you're sort of cited as a voluptuous woman. But yeah, is it weird being held up as an example of, because you're always cited whenever they talk about curvy women, they always mention there's always photographs of you, and on the one hand I suppose it must be lovely to be seen as being admired, but the other hand I don't think I've met a single woman ever who was happy with the way she looked.
No, but on the other hand, given that is the common denominator, that we're all worrying endlessly, I think it is slightly more relaxing to think, well, I'm not going to fight the fight anymore. And once you've accepted that you can have that other packet of Maltesers, life gets a bit rosier.
I'm a great fan of yours, not just because I think you are a charming person, and I think obviously you're a talented performer in the kitchen, but there was one thing I read about you in particular, which was a quote, and I don't know whether you said this or not, but it struck me as being such a lovely thing to say. You were talking about your children, and you said that the interesting about having children is you have to stop being the picture and you become the frame. And I thought that was just a charming and insightful thing to say, and I'd never said that to you before, but I wanted to say it to you now.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, before we move on, before we say goodnight to Nigella, and we must, I'm afraid, I love your shows. One thing I sometimes resent about them and don't like about modern cookery shows is the kind of frenetic pace of the show, the camera work. It's all kind of like wibbly-wobbly like this. So you're cooking. Pretend you're chopping something like that. This is like, and you talk to me on the camera, okay?
Okay, I'm talking to you. Okay, so don't worry about how... Oh, listen,
That's what it's like, and it's all like, whoa, look at that.
Don't diss my crew.
Right, okay, it's all over the
place. Oh, no,
place.
I've got lots of disco glitter from my decorations all over.
And you can't concentrate on it.
But you don't want to concentrate on it.
Yes, you do. I want to see clearly what's being done, and then occasionally a couple of money shots, and then back to what's being done. You know, a view with a bit of cream going. That's what you normally get. It's like, and now I'm going to bake this at 100 degrees, and they cut you for some reason going. That can't go up the tree now. All right.
What's your dentist thinking?
Christ almighty, woman, how long do you cook that for?
Not long enough.
I bit the inside of my mouth now, it's a bit soft.
No. Okay. I'll give you another J so you can hang it up and remember who you are.
Thank you.
Fabulous.
Nigella, it's lovely to see you again. Have a great Christmas.
You too.
Nigella's Christmas Kitchen starts on the 6th of December here on the BBC. It's on for 3 weeks. It's the perfect way to get yourself organised. Nigella, great to see you. Have a great Christmas and a lovely year ahead. Nigella Lawson, ladies and gentlemen. Are you going to stay for the music? Okay, well, first thing you sit down. Is that a real animal of some sort
I
on there?
think it is a real animal, but it's got this strange thing. It's a real animal that's been fed latex.
Thanks to all my guests this week. Of course, the lovely Nigella Lawson, Dylan Moran and Elijah Wood.